All right, so guys, you know how yesterday and a couple of days we've been talking about April Fools, since it was just April Fool's Day a couple days ago? Well, I saw just yesterday that George Kittle put out a April Fool's prank on the 1st, and he made a good one. It was probably better than Julian Edelman's. We talked about Julian Edelman's yesterday, where he tweeted out a picture that he got traded to Tampa Bay, and we discussed that. We've already been over that. But George Kittle, apparently on the same day, tweeted out a picture that he was traded to Jacksonville. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, George Kittle made an April Fool's prank that he was traded to Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Jaguars, which would be a massive move if that did happen. Now, I know it's obviously not true, and it's a April Fool's prank, but let's dive just a little bit into the possibility of George Kittle being traded to the Jaguars. Now, we obviously know that Trevor Lawrence is going to Jacksonville. He's going to be the number 1 overall pick. Urban Meyer has not come out officially and said it, but he's basically come out officially and said that the Jags are going to take Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick. Who wouldn't take Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick? So let's hypothetically say George Kittle is traded to the Jags. Now, I don't know what they would trade back for, and they'd probably have to trade back a lot for George Kittle because he's a very, very talented tight end, and he's worth a lot of capital. So Jags would have to trade away a lot of stuff. They'd probably have to trade away a lot of draft picks. They'd probably have to trade away some players of value too. So let's say hypothetically they somehow were able to get Trevor Lawrence and George Kittle in the same team. They were able to bring in George Kittle without trading away their number 1 overall pick. So let's take a look at that offense with George Kittle now, if that was actually a real trade. So they'd have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, James Robinson at running back, the undrafted rookie from last year that went absolutely crazy last season. They'd have DJ Chark and who's their other wide receiver? Who is their other wide receiver? I don't even remember. Oh, Laviska Shenault. He was a pretty decent wide receiver there. I'm probably forgetting somebody else. And then they'd have George Kittle. That offense is not bad at all. They would go from winning, what'd they win, like 2 games? 1 game last year? I don't even know how many games they won. But they'd go from winning that many games, which is not many, to probably going 500. Probably going like, I don't even know, maybe like a 9-win team, maybe even better than 500. Maybe they win 8 games, 9. They'd probably in the 8-game, 9-game range of wins if they added George Kittle plus Trevor Lawrence, because I'm assuming Trevor Lawrence is going to have, this is all assuming that Trevor Lawrence has a good rookie season. It doesn't get hurt like Joe Burrow. But they would obviously have to work a little bit on their offensive line and their defense. But that offense would be pretty good. So George Kittle putting out this April Fool's prank that he got traded to Jacksonville probably gave a lot of heart attacks to 49ers fans and Jaguars fans too, because they might have thought that was real, not realizing that it was April Fool's Day, like I did with Julian Edelman for a couple of minutes where I thought that was real, but that turned out to not be real and it was just a prank. So with this just being a prank too, even though it is just a joke and an April Fool's prank, it does open up some interesting hypotheticals thinking about what would happen if George Kittle actually did get traded to Jacksonville. Obviously, in the situation that I discussed, the Jags didn't give up their first overall pick, and they took Trevor Lawrence, and then they had both those guys. But probably in a more realistic situation, they probably would have to give up their first overall pick because the 49ers value George Kittle so much. I would assume they'd have to give up that first overall pick to get him, along with some other picks, maybe some other players too, because George Kittle is such a good talent and such a once-in-a-generation kind of tight end that they probably would have to give up that first overall pick. But for what we were discussing, I decided I thought it'd be fun to keep the first overall pick with Jacksonville to get Trevor Lawrence. So maybe that's something we do in Madden 22. Maybe we do a little bit of experiment. We put George Kittle on the Jaguars and see how good they do. Maybe that's the difference. I don't know. That might be a little bit of foreshadowing in the future on this channel. I don't know. But let me know down below if you guys were fooled by the George Kittle trade, if you guys were not fooled by it, if you thought it was funny, if you didn't think it was funny. Let me know if you guys like my hypothetical of what would happen and where I think the Jaguars would be with George Kittle on their team, plus Trevor Lawrence. So that's all I got for today. Hope you guys did enjoy. Smash that like button, subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one. See ya!